This program is for informational and educational purposes only. This program is not a solicitation or recommendation for any investment or security. Investments or securities mentioned in this show may or may not be owned by NEPSIS Advisor Services. NEPSIS Advisor Services is an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Welcome to Journeys with Joni. My name is Joni Rametta, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Mark Clark. How are you, Mark?
I'm awesome today, Joni. How are you?
I'm good.
I promise I'll stay away from the hump day like we did last
thank
week.
goodness. Yeah, I didn't. That camel still, goes through my head.
We're going to have to send that insurance company a bill for talking about their camel.
Yeah, well, they get a lot of advertisement for free out of that one. Last week, we were talking about retirement plans. We sort of did a general conversation about retirement plans, and then we started a little bit specifically talking about IRAs, qualified plans, IRAs, the Roths, and the 401ks. And I think there's a little bit more information that we need to give our listeners about those things today.
Sure.
And just sort of talk a little bit more about some of the stories that we have of people that are, starting to save for retirement. There's people in the middle. I mean, I think through our clientele, we have people that are just starting out. We have people that are in the middle. We're sort of in the middle ourselves. And then we've got some people that are at the end that have started to retire or are in retirement.
I'm glad you put me in the middle. I don't want to be anywhere near the end of the line yet, although my kids always say I'm old.
Well, yeah. Well,
it's all relative, I guess.
It is all relative. Well, we used to think that our age was old when we were younger, too.
50 is the new 30. Did you know that?
That's good.
I just made it that way. So 50 is the new 30.
Yeah.
That's what I'm facing in February. So.
Oh, well, congratulations.
I made it.
You made it. Yeah.
She still puts up with me. My wife I'm referring to, not Joni. Joni's stuck with me. So, but yeah, retirement plans. This is an area that
it's sort of the elephant in the room.
It is. It really is. And people just they're forced to do something at work. Okay, I'll throw a little bit of money in.
But they're not doing enough.
No, they're not.
I think doing some research about this, I actually found statistics. And 21% of employees choose not to participate. So not only are they not saving any of their money, they're not getting any of the employer matches if there's an employer match at their place of work. So 20% of people aren't doing something for themselves.
That's incredible. That's 1 out of 5.
Right.
So if you're sitting at lunch today around the lunch table and there's 10 of you, 2 of you aren't participating. Two of you are choosing to do nothing.
And I think a lot of it is, sometimes it's a lack of knowledge and a lack of understanding, a lack of clarity. Right. They don't know what they're giving up because there's nobody there to really tell them anything about that.
Right. And typically, there's some dude or gal rolls through and says, it's today's enrollment day, make a decision, sign this document, and how much of your paycheck. And the next thing you know, somebody's sitting there saying, well, I can't afford to take anything out of my paycheck because I'm living on everything. And one of the things that we love to do with new clients, existing clients that have been around for a long time, is really peel back the onion. What is it costing you? Where can we find other dollars to make an impact with you? And
because I think a lot of times there are dollars. We all spend. I spend money that I don't need to spend too.
Sure.
So it's something that everybody, I think, has a tendency to do. And I think that if you examine where your money is and what you're spending it on, and if you can have it pulled out of your paycheck before it hits your checking account, you're not even going to miss it.
All right, I'm going to create a scenario. This is a scenario that I will wager more people will identify than not, especially the 20%ers.
Mm-hmm.
If you're one of those folks that loves to get an income tax return check somewhere around, maybe
April 15th.
Maybe it's before that. Maybe you're that person that says on January 15th, as soon as I get my tax documents at the end of the year, my W-2, my 1099, whatever it is that you get, you're running down to the tax preparer, or you're doing them yourself, sending them in as quickly as possible because you want to get your money back.
Mm-hmm.
You have just loaned the government a interest-free loan
of your money
that you could have used. And here is a number. I'm not going to create a calculation for you, but I just want to create the scenario. The lost opportunity cost. In other words, if you had that dollar in January, so in January you started giving the government a loan. You loaned them money January, February, all the way through December on a monthly basis at no interest. So they've used your money in the entire year. What if that money worked for you? What if instead of loaning the government that money, let's just say you get a $500 check back at the end of the year, just $500. Let's make it $600 so I can round it. I can do $50 a month. If you get a $600 check back, that's $50 a month. We can sit down with you and show you that you could be putting into your retirement plan, and you can earn compounding interest on that because you're going to have some growth. In addition to that, I'm going to wager that the impact on your paycheck is going to be more. The net take-home pay is going to be more than the $50 because you're going to get a deduction on top of that.
Correct. Plus you get the employer match.
If there's a match, you would get the employer
you get
match.
That too.
So the compounding of what's available to you, that's why you need to come in and sit down with a coach. If not Joni and myself, sit down with a coach somewhere. But that's a huge, huge thing. And I've talked to many people who love getting that check, people that are related to me. I won't say who their names are, but that they just thrive on getting, well, that's my vacation money. This is a lack of discipline. I know we're coming up here at the end of the first segment, and we can talk about this a little bit more, but this is a discipline. This is a spending decision that you have to make that's going to impact you for the long term. And go back to that. We talked last week about procrastination. I get a little passionate about this, so sorry. But putting it off and not having a spending decision that's for you, instead you're giving it to the government, interest-free, this case or awesome, but there are better ways to do things. Right,
and you're making that decision. By not doing anything else, you're making that decision.
That's a decision to not benefit yourself with everything that's available to you.
Sometimes not making a decision is making a decision.
And it's costly.
It can be very costly. Very costly.
So if people want to come see us, I know we're running out of time in the first segment.
We're running out of time. We are. Because we're passionate about this kind of stuff.
I love it.
I mean, who wants to give the government money, especially for free?
Not me.
Not me either. You can reach us at journeyswithjoni, that's JONI.com. You can call us at 941-361-1484. We're actually located at Lakewood Ranch, 6230 University Parkway, Suite 305, which is the Home Bank building just to the east of I-75 off of University, near the new mall that'll be opening in October.
Yay.
That'll be fun, huh? Traffic will be fun. No, not really. Journeys with Joni. We'll be right back.
Do you know what you own and why you own it? Join us for our next workshop to learn about investing with clarity by calling 941-361-1484 to reserve your seat today. Joni and Mark look forward to discussing the philosophy, strategy, flexibility, and transparency, the 4 pillars of investing, with NEPSIS Advisor Services. Call today, 941-361-1484. That's 941-361-1484.
Welcome back to Journeys with Joni. Just before the break, Mark and I were discussing the fact that a lot of people are loaning the government money monthly because at the end of the year, they file their taxes and they get a refund.
And then they think they've saved money.
They think they've saved money. And we're talking about the importance of knowing what you have in your paycheck, knowing what you spend, knowing what you can do, and how you can take that $50 that you were giving to the government, putting it into a retirement plan, possibly getting a match from your employer and growing that for your retirement and saving taxes all along the way.
You know, this is the proverbial definition of the tail wagging the dog when you do this.
Right.
And, you know, if it weren't so huge, we wouldn't see at tax time these new commercials that are out with stacks of dollar bills on, you know, aircraft carriers being blown off. And this is, you know, the theme is get your money back, and how many people don't claim, you know, refunds that they should get. which still amazes me. But coming back to what I was talking about in the first segment of the show, leaving money on the table, making a decision to use the government as a savings account, the opportunity cost of that is so large. When you look at it in reference to what your paycheck is and the percentage that you're really giving up to do that, there are better ways to do it. And we can help you. And this is what we love doing. And then the cool thing about what we do is we get to see the real results pretty darn quick. And watching the impact that people go, you know what, I can do this. I just need a little bit of help. I just needed some understanding. So sticking with that thought process of understanding, I threw out a number and I just made it up. But I said, if you get a $600 check back from the government, that's like $50 a month you can put into, the account, retirement, 401k, even if you put it into a Roth. But there's some other numbers, since I opened the numbers can of worms.
Right.
There's some other numbers that I think are really important to talk about when you look at retirement plans and what you can and can't do in reference to a qualified account. Qualified meaning I'm putting my dollar in. I have limits on what I can put in, and then I get some tax breaks for that.
Right. So if you're under 50 years old in an IRA,
yes,
in a Roth IRA,
that's me.
You can do it for a couple more months. No. Actually, you want to be over 50 because you can save a little bit more. But under 50,
you're just trying to encourage.
I know. Well, I'm trying to get you to join the ranks here. If you're under 50, you can save $5,500 a year.
How can I do that? In what?
In an IRA.
In an IRA.
Right. It's a 401k at work.
An IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account.
Right.
It's just a type of account. It's not an investment.
No, it's not an investment. It's a vehicle. It's the pie plate. It's not what's in the pie.
Right. So if I want to buy stocks, like we've talked about before in the NEPSIS Capital Management, I can come in and open an IRA and have my money invested in companies and all kind of things.
Correct.
And I can put how much in a year?
$5,500. If you're over 50 years old, you can put in an additional $1,000, which is $6,500. So that's something that you can do every year. The numbers will change. So that's for this year, 2014.
That's to entice all those procrastinators.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't done anything for savings, you can do it next year for this year. But, the sooner you get it in, the sooner it starts growing, and it's tax deferred growth.
Right.
So in a 401k, which is something that you would have available to you at work that you could possibly have employer matches for, you can put in up to $17,500.
And I can do that out of my paycheck.
You can do it out of your paycheck. It's a deduction. You don't pay taxes on it. It goes in there without the taxes being taken out. But do you know what the average amount of people put in their 401ks?
I honestly didn't look at your numbers. And now you're asking me for a dollar amount?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
If they're allowed to put in $17,500, how much do you think that the average person is putting in?
$1,500.
Well, you were a little bit low. $2,700.
$2,700. Wow.
So here's my question. I mean, it's $2,700. That's about $15,000 that they're not putting in.
And as we talked about before, 20% of the people, 1 in 5, do nothing.
Do nothing. But that $15,000 that they could put in, what are they spending it on?
Stuff.
I
would wager.
And I bet you don't know at the end of the year what stuff you spend it on.
You're 100% correct. I would wager you're probably spending it on interest that you're paying somebody else for something that you're probably already used up.
Right.
I don't want to open that can of worms.
Yeah, we're not going to go to the debt side of things. No. But, so not only are you're not saving enough, you're also not getting the employer match.
And the employer match can be, basically that's something that can be really made up by the employer. There are some limits on it, but that's not something you need to focus on. What you want to focus on is getting all the employer's money.
Getting all the benefits that you're entitled to.
They may match dollar for dollar up to 2%, 3%. They may match 50 cents on the dollar up to 6% of your paycheck. So that means you've got to put in 6% to get their 3%.
Right.
So we'll help you with that.
I mean, all you need to do is read the employer plan or ask your human resources person, where's the match? And you know what? You at least have to get to that.
Absolutely.
If you don't max it out and you don't put all $17,000 in it because it's not all matched, you at least need to put in enough to get the match.
Yeah, that's that guarantee that I think I talked about last week. That's a guarantee return. If you get $1 in from your paycheck and then you get an additional 50 cents from your employer, that's a 50% return on your money. I don't know an investment that does that on a year-over-year basis, and that just, if you're going to participate, pick that money up. That's a great way to make an impact on your retirement.
Absolutely. And it's a benefit you're entitled to. So you're not taking anything that you're not entitled to take.
Right.
And if you're entitled to it and it's part of your package, you should be taking advantage of it. There's a reason it's there.
Right.
And 10 years from now, if you go, oh, I didn't do that and I didn't know about it or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's gone. It's a benefit that you cannot get back once the calendar turns either.
Yeah, nickels and dimes make a difference. And, if I'm talking to an employer or a key employee in a company where you have an influence on the employer or the business owner, we have a retirement plan, a package that's fee-based from the retirement side. Most plans are insurance-based, and we can probably reduce some costs and put more of the contributions at the same dollars that you're spending. Instead of spending it on fees, we have the opportunity to probably put some things in play and impact the employees. I'll talk about a short story when we come back from the break of a drastic impact that we've made on one employer group that's pretty impressive. But how do people get a hold of us? You
can get a hold of us by going to Journeys with Joni, that's JONI.com. You can call us at 941-361-1484, or you can stop by 6230 University Parkway, that's the Home Bank building, and we're in Suite 305. Journeys with Joni. We'll be right back.
Do you know what you own and why you own it? Join us for our next workshop to learn about investing with clarity by calling 941-361-1484 to reserve your seat today. Joni and Mark look forward to discussing the philosophy, strategy, flexibility, and transparency, the 4 pillars of investing, with NEPSIS Advisor Services. Call today, 941-361-1484. That's 941-361-1484.
Welcome back to Journeys with Joni. Just before the break, Mark and I were giving out the numbers on the things that we can do in our retirement planning process, like the numbers. And they're not numbers that, we all have to remember. I mean, to be honest with you, we have them written down in our office too, because, every year the rules change, and, you want to make sure that you're current with the rules, and you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all the things that you can take advantage of. So it's about having a coach or a mentor helping you do the things and make sure that everything that you're allowed to have is an advantage for you. It's a benefit for you that you're taking advantage of.
One of the issues I really have with this segment of our industry, Joni, is the retirement plan at work, the employer-sponsored plan, my 401k. By the way, if you don't know, 401k, the word comes from the tax code. Section 401.K of the IRS code is what gives us the retirement plan that we know is a 401k. I have a buddy that calls it the 401k.
That's cute.
He's a comedian. Anyway, but it's a 401k. It's just simply a retirement plan. But the one thing that drives me nuts about this is such a huge component for most working people. And, they get the opportunity to interact with the person who is the investment advisor or the financial advisor attached to the plan, maybe once or twice, if you're lucky, 3 or 4 times a year. And this is something that's very important in our world of being a fee-based financial advisor. CFPs, we really take this serious, and we've packaged some things a little bit differently. We have the opportunity to make an impact with people, and I think it's so important that the people who serve our businesses on a day-to-day basis, this is such a huge component of their retirement goal, is to be able to retire with something more than Social Security when and if Social Security is there.
Well, that's one of the big things. I mean, depending on your age, if you're already taking Social Security, then it's not a conversation for you. But if you're, as Mark said, approaching that 50-year mark, or even younger, I mean, is Social Security going to be there? And even if it is it going to be enough?
Right. Is
And
it
how
going to be
much
enough
is
for your
enough?
lifestyle?
Right.
Everybody wants to play a little more golf in retirement, but last I checked, they have greens fees.
Yeah, they do. Cart fees too. So, it's how much is enough. So, it's about setting down early, talking about the things that are available to you to try to project out how much do you need to save.
Right.
I mean, we actually have tools
We
that
do.
we can use that says, okay, you're contributing X to your plan today. If we do X plus $50, what does that do to your plan over a period of time? And, those numbers start to get pretty big pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start early enough and you start putting in as much as you can put in, you work a little bit harder today so that you don't have to work as hard tomorrow.
Right. And, it comes back to, we've said this has been a theme probably in every show that we've done on the radio, Joni, and that's having a purpose, having a plan. If you don't do things with intent, the opposite happens. Que sera, sera, and you wake up and you go, holy cow, I'm 65 years old and I all I have is Social Security. Though, if that's your circumstances, that's okay. Those things happen. But at the end of the day, you can make some decisions today to keep some of those things from happening. And one of the things I talked about a little bit earlier was the costs and the fees and the expenses, all those ticky-tack things that, most people just go, okay, enough. I'm just going to contribute and put my money in. We sat down with an employer a couple weeks ago, and the employer felt he had a pretty good retirement plan in for his employees, and his employees made two comments to him over the last couple months. And they said this. They said, we feel like we're just, when the person comes around, that they're speaking over our heads and they're just going through the motions of being here just so that they can get paid.
That's normal.
And when we peeled back the onion on the fees inside this plan, I will not say who the plan sponsor was from the investment side or anything. I'm not going to give any details. But when we peeled back the onion, it was quite shocking for everybody to see what was really being paid. And in 2012, legislation was passed where in retirement plans, they have to today be transparent. You have to disclose where every penny of expense and costs are going, and the employees have the right to know.
Right. And you know what? Let's just stop right there, though. I mean, there's a cost to doing everything.
Absolutely.
So there, if nothing's free, and if it's free, you better check to see what you're getting. But there's a cost to doing business. There's a cost to maintaining staff. There's a cost to doing the paperwork and all that kind of stuff. So there's always costs. But we're finding that there's higher costs within the plan than what people thought that there were.
Right. So you combine that with the opportunity costs that people are losing by just saying, I'm not going to participate because I don't understand. I'm not going to participate because I can't afford $5 more. And those concerns are really legitimate.
They are.
But how can we work with people and help them find the opportunity costs in different places that they can find money and begin to help themselves make an impact? And I think that's kind of what keeps us going every day. Making an impact on people.
And employers need to understand what their employees are talking about. Employees need to be able to go to their employer and ask about the plan. They need somebody that can explain the plan to them in their lingo. And that's one of the things that we can do. I mean, if you bring us the plan documents, we can look at your plan documents. We can help you with that.
And you know what's really ironic, Joni? We've been talking today about retirement plans. We haven't even talked about the investment component. And we've done that on other shows that we've had. And that's a whole nother conversation that we can have with people on a one-on-one basis. And we really like it. End of the day, it's about making an impact. And, you made mention a few minutes ago to the tools that we have to how are you going to get there? Well, where's your goal? Where are you trying to get? Because if you don't know where you're trying to get, you might just...
you might get there.
You might get there and go, how did I get here? What happened?
Right.
But, we love to sit down with people. We love to do the planning. We got workshops coming up. We got resources that you can plug into. And we're passionate about what we do. If it's not fun, it's not for us. So how do people find us? What are we? How do they engage with us? What can they do to kind of come, kick the tires, I guess I could say.
Well, we hope that everybody learned a little bit something today.
I hope so.
We learned something too. We always learn something, don't we?
Always.
Yeah. Well, if you missed any portion or you want to get any more details about something that you missed on the show, please go to Journeys with Joni, that's JONI.com, where you can find a replay of all of our shows, our workshop dates. You can send us an email, and we actually have quarterly reports written by Mark Pearson, our Chief Investment Officer, who's been on a couple of times.
Yes, we do.
Those are one or two pages, and they're normally very good and interesting, and something that you can, start to begin to learn the process with NEPSIS Capital Management. Journeys with Joni will be back next week. Until then, thanks for listening.
This program is for informational and educational purposes only. This program is not a solicitation or recommendation for any investment or security. Investments or securities mentioned in this show may or may not be owned by NEPSIS Advisor Services. NEPSIS Advisor Services is an SEC-registered investment advisor.